Now it's time for Q&A with Vicki Cobb, author of I Face the Wind. Dr. Sherwin Yang, PhD, is the moderator.
Hello, everyone. Wow, Vicki, that's a great presentation. We're so glad that you are able to join us today. So now let's see if participant has any questions. Okay, so we got one question. And the question is, participant is asking, would it be okay to Sharpie a spot to attach the airbags balloons on the hanger?
Oh, that's a good idea. You might want to do that in the procedure. That refines the procedure. So you know where you were. I assume that. I should have put that in, but I didn't. That's a good point.
Okay, thank you. And we also got another question, and they really like the book, and they are wondering how can we get the book.
It's for sale on Amazon. I'd like to show you. I mean, you can buy it. You can order it pretty much anywhere, any bookstore. It's still very much in print, but I'd like to show you a little activity you can do after you've done all the activities in the book, and that is to see if this is a very fun demonstration for very little children. And it's a gun-shaped hair dryer, and it can create an anti-gravity force. I'll show you what it is because it's really a lot of fun. You can take a ping-pong ball and keep it in the air with this thing. If I tilt it, gravity gets stronger, the anti-gravity force gets, I call this an anti-gravity force. It's not really an anti-gravity force. So then you ask children, do you think you could put more than one ball in this thing? Oh, that's a good question. Let's try with it. Here's a ball. They fight each other. Now you notice that I'm using a ball. What else can we change? Well, it has to. The object has to be a closed curve, like a sphere is a closed curve. What about an egg? You think that they think the hairdryer can hold up an egg? Well, let's try that. This is a bigger one. You see, it stays in there, but it wiggles. And this one, this is the most fun of all. What about this? I'm going to stand back here. Watch. It's heavier than air. You see it fall? I can keep it up there. I can get near the camera. It's up there in the sky. So you have a lot of fun with this. You can also use a leaf blower. And then you can put other objects. I mean, the whole thing is to learn by playing with it. To watch what happens when you apply wind to objects. Any other questions?
Yeah, thank you, Vicki. That's a really great demonstration. I love it. I never think about using to blow air and to make a little experiment. And we got another question. Vicki, what do you think? How do you recommend describing the image in the book for students with visually impaired? Student with visual impairment.
Well, one of the things the artist did with the words on a page was that she made the words go in different in directions so that the leaves that are going in a circle, the words are going in a circle. So it's all of it is in there. It's an important book because the pictures show a lot of things that you can experience outside. The whole point of the book is that to get away from the book and to experience the wind in a different way and to think about the wind in a different way and what kind of a force the wind can exert. So that's in part of the illustrations, and we can describe, like in the book, what happens when you face the wind. Well, there's a picture that shows your hair going away from your face, but you've all felt that, so you know.
Okay, thank you. And we also got another question is, who are the children that you work with to try out the text and the activities in the book?
Well, the first thing, I'll tell you who they were. I got this idea for these books for very young children when my granddaughter was 3 years old. And the first book I wrote was I See Myself, because children are very egocentric at the time and they want to see themselves. So I wrote a book with a manuscript, and it began like this. Look in the mirror, who do you see? Your very own self, that's who. Now suppose there were no mirrors in the world. What could you do to see yourself? And then the next question is answer by walk around the room and see all the places where you see yourself. And you will find that you will see yourself in doorknobs, you will see yourself in glass, anything that's shiny. And then I say, but you need something besides a mirror to see yourself. Can you guess what that is? Here's a way to find out. Take a mirror, go in the closet, and shut the door. And I asked my daughter-in-law to try this on my granddaughter, Abby. It was just a manuscript. Didn't have any pictures or anything. Abby went into the closet and shut the door, and she came out screaming, Mom, you need light to see. And it was just such an incredible, magical experience that I knew I was onto something.
Thank
So
you.
my grandkids they're all grown up now, but they have been very instrumental in fact, you can see that stack of boxes back there, they're clear. Those are all things that I've collected for science experiments. One says round things. I was in there looking for balloons today. I didn't find them in there, but because I ran out. But they would come down here when they were little, and anything they wanted, I gave them free rein. They could go into those drawers, and anything they found, they'd come to me and say, what's this, Gran? And one of my grandsons, who was an only child and very sheltered, I said, it's a stink bomb. You want to light it? Oh my gosh, it was so exciting. We went out in the patio and we lit it. They like to come visit me. There was always something interesting to do.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that a little story behind that, why you create that book. Is really great to hear that. And we also got another question about does the author have other books?
Oh, yes. Well, this is my new series. It's for that age group because there are 4 books in the other series. There is, if you want to I have a series of books on the 5 senses that have a lot of activities in them, and you can get the PDF of them. They're out of print, but I have an organization, and if you go to the Ink's Think Tank bookstore, it's called Ink Books and Media, INK booksandmedia.org. You'll find the PDFs. You can download them. You can reproduce them. It's very, very inexpensive. We're practically giving them away. I think you have to pay for the first download, but once you have it, you have it. And if you look at my series on the 5 senses, you see how we explore the 5 senses. And there are many, many activities that nobody's done. I mean, I made them up. That's why they're there. And it's more of what's called psychophysics. In other words, how does the physical world impact on our sense organs? It's not about the way there's some anatomy in it, but every time you look about the senses, they describe the ear. It's not perception, and perception is a way we use our senses. So these books are about that.
Okay, thank you. Also another question kind of related to I Face the Wind, this book. What age range would you recommend for this book and activity for a story time?
I would say 3 to 6, three grades. You can use it with really little kids. And it's, I'm fighting something about the story time because, as I said, this this isn't just a narrative that you sit and read. You really, it's trying to get people to do something. And, one of the interesting things about science is that you prove everything yourself. For example, in I Face the Wind, I did it with a group of 5-year-olds. And we give those grocery bags, they're free. I didn't say they were inexpensive, they're free. And I showed the kids how to catch the wind. And they're screaming, I got some. And a friend of mine, a professor, did it with a bunch of her teachers, and the kids used the Ziploc bags, and they all wanted to take a bag of air home with them to show their parents. I mean, there's something about introducing the quotidian, unnoticeable, daily thing and then thinking about what is it? What is it really like? How can we find out? And that experience makes the child a primary source. How do you know it? I experienced it. I did something. You do what I did, you'll know what I know. And that's the basis of science. That's why we can use it for predictive value.
That's a wonderful answer, Vicki. And I guess the next one is kind of like a comment. The participant is talking about these activities that you show and demonstrate during the session will be really great for students who are doing virtual learning and really easy enough to adapt. And yeah, so it's a comment about like the stuff that you're demonstrating during the session. And we also got another question about are there any safety recommendations you have for families doing this at home?
That's a question. There's a question that says, you tell a kid don't put beans in your nose. I mean, I would say, if a couple of my experience, if you go on the Nonfiction Minute, you discover how you can put out a candle flame with a bag of potato chips. If you're going to use fire, it needs supervision. And also, little kids need supervision and learning also. So I have to tell you that these books, originally published by HarperCollins, they're still published by They have a legal team. And they were vetted I wrote a chemistry book. You have no idea how it was vetted. I was so upset where everything could possibly be poisonous if you use it the wrong way or something. It could be some disaster. I have to paraphrase a quote. See if I can remember it. It says, the author said that if you live your life, you are no safer in the long run avoiding danger or risk-taking or embracing it. Life is a daring adventure or nothing. And the author of that quote is Helen Keller. So that's I think when I was a little kid, I had a chemistry set with magnesium ribbons and sulfur and stuff I could light and put on fire. And I'm still here. I think we overprotect. And to ask that question, I mean, are you looking for a lawsuit? I mean, that's my feeling. I don't even think about that.
Thank you, Vicki. And I think we only have 2 more minutes, but the last question is for myself. I wonder, do you have any suggestion to help teachers or family to engage STEM learning concept when reading books with young children?
Well, I have now I have four science playbooks, and I have 3 of these books. These are new. And in every case, I have a page. I'll show you. We didn't put it up in the video, but you see, it says note to the reader. That's assuming the reader is the parent. And it tells the parent that how to use the book, because the book is not meant to be rushed through. It's designed for your child to make discoveries. So it's almost like directed play. I've spent a lot of time thinking about it and crafting something in language that is meaningful for children, but it also creates bonding between the parent and the child. It's why you read picture books. And you know, I wrote an article once about books that make you stop reading for very young children. The whole point of the book, and if it is well illustrated, you're reading a picture book to a kid, and the kid has questions about the pictures, so you stop reading anyway, and you look at the pictures. Here you stop reading, you take a break, you go and check the world out, and then you come back to the book. And it's guided by somebody who's spent a lot of time thinking thoughtfully, carefully about where we're going with this, because you have to see that much of the world, I know you have many children that have disabilities and sensory disabilities. Human beings as a whole have sensory disabilities. Science is a way of bringing everything within the realm of human senses, because we can't see atoms. Nobody can see atoms. But you can imagine, everybody can imagine atoms, and we have to give you a way to imagine them.
Okay, thank you, Vicki. And a lot of people have questions about like where is the website and how they can action, and we provide in our chat box if we just want to let you know. So let the people.
Oh, that's great. And tell anybody if they have any questions. Just email, and my email is email@vickicobb.com. Please feel free to write me. I write everybody. I'm basically retired, so it's a thrill to be able to share my books with you. And you know, and I can do it. I like to hear from people.
Okay.
And if you need any tips or you have any questions, please write me.
Thank you so much, Vicki. Thank you so much for spending time with us today. We really love your presentation. And sure, everyone, if you have any question, please email Vicki and we will put her email address at the chat box. Thank you, everyone. We hope you enjoy the rest of the conference.